Have you ever realized that the sharper your mind, the more isolated you feel? You've spent your whole life believing intelligence would bring you closer to others, help you understand and connect with the people around you, but instead it quietly drives you further away. You notice everything: the hidden intentions behind someone's friendly smile, the unspoken truths in casual conversations, and the subtle shifts in tone others easily overlook. Yet, the clearer your vision becomes, the lonelier you feel. You stand surrounded by friends, family, colleagues, people you genuinely care about. And yet, in the midst of their laughter and conversation, you find yourself silently observing, analyzing, distant. Have you ever felt that unsettling ache of pretending to be someone else just to fit in, suppressing your real thoughts and feelings because you know deep down they wouldn't fully understand? How often have you worn a mask just to avoid feeling alienated? Carl Jung once said the deepest journey toward yourself begins exactly at the moment you recognize you're not part of the crowd. So ask yourself honestly, is the loneliness you carry today simply isolation? Or could it be the start of a powerful journey inward, toward the person you've always meant to become? Maybe your intelligence isn't isolating you by accident. Maybe it's quietly guiding you toward the kind of solitude necessary to uncover who you truly are. Could this persistent sense of detachment, the quiet ache of feeling misunderstood, actually be the first step on a path toward profound self-discovery? The real reason intelligent people often choose detachment isn't arrogance or emotional unavailability. It's self-preservation. They recognize that empathy, kindness, and profound emotional awareness, qualities deeply ingrained within them, ironically become their greatest vulnerabilities in superficial relationships. Imagine your intelligence as a transparent pane of glass. Through this glass, you see the world with crystal clarity. You discern hidden emotions, intentions, and subtle cues others effortlessly overlook. Yet, precisely because this pane is so clear, it becomes incredibly challenging for you to truly connect with the world on the other side. You're simultaneously close to everyone and impossibly distant. Think of those moments when you've joined casual conversations, smiling, nodding, and participating. Yet inwardly, you have felt yourself more like an observer, watching a performance than a genuine participant. Conversations intended to bring connection leave you feeling emptier than if you'd never engaged at all. You begin to realize your sharp mind isn't drawing you closer to others. It's quietly erecting invisible barriers. And so you choose solitude, not because you disdain people, but because solitude is the only space that truly protects your mental clarity. Ask yourself honestly, is the detachment you're choosing truly loneliness? Or is it actually your mind's intuitive way of guarding its sanity? Have you ever considered that your isolation isn't something to be fixed, but a profound signal that you've outgrown the surface level engagements around you? Take Ethan's story. Ethan was always seen as outgoing, easily blending into social settings, attending gatherings, and effortlessly joining conversations. But each time he returned home from a social event, he felt drained and profoundly disconnected. One evening, amid laughter and cheerful banter, Ethan found himself silently analyzing every word, gesture, and underlying motive around him. He felt alienated, not because others rejected him, but because the depth of his perception left him exhausted from navigating interactions that felt hollow. That night, Ethan sat alone in his car, quietly acknowledging something he'd long ignored. He was tired of performing. What he genuinely needed wasn't another superficial interaction, but quiet space to reconnect with his own authentic thoughts and emotions. Have you ever found yourself in Ethan's shoes, attending gatherings, smiling politely, engaging actively, yet feeling profoundly isolated and exhausted at the core? Could it be that your mind isn't designed for constant external engagement, but instead yearns for meaningful solitude and self-reflection? The consequence of continually forcing yourself to engage in environments that don't align with your inner truth is severe: an erosion of self-trust, an increasing sense of emptiness, and psychological exhaustion. Each time you pretend to fit into social settings that don't truly resonate with you, you are quietly dimming the clarity and strength you've spent years cultivating. It's like repeatedly wearing a shirt that doesn't fit. Despite adjustments, despite your effort, discomfort persists. Eventually, you're left feeling trapped, confined, unable to breathe freely. Recall those parties, meetings, or gatherings where you've diligently tried to integrate yourself. Did it ever genuinely work? Or were you always left with a quiet, lingering desire to retreat, to return to your own private space, where you didn't have to pretend? If you stopped forcing yourself to fit into these uncomfortable molds, who would you allow yourself to become? True compassion doesn't require continuous self-sacrifice. It doesn't demand you betray your inner peace to accommodate external expectations. Real kindness, differentiated compassion, is understanding that while you can deeply empathize with others, you must never compromise your internal safety and tranquility to appease their needs. You don't need to burn yourself down to keep others warm, especially when they fail to recognize or appreciate your warmth. How many times have you participated in conversations or events you knew beforehand would drain your energy? What if, instead of pushing yourself toward interactions that leave you empty, you devoted that same time to cultivating the rich inner world that constantly calls out for your attention? Imagine if the solitude you choose wasn't avoidance, but a conscious act of self-preservation and respect. Would you dare choose inner peace over the comfort of external validation? Would you find the courage to step back from situations that don't serve your deeper emotional needs? Perhaps your solitude isn't truly solitude at all, but the first essential step toward understanding yourself in ways you've never allowed before. Perhaps the path you're taking, selective solitude and intentional detachment, is precisely the space necessary to discover who you genuinely are beneath all the expectations, performances, and societal pressures you've silently carried. It's time to recognize that the emotional exhaustion you felt isn't a flaw. It's a clear indication from within, a signal that your emotional and intellectual resources are valuable and must be invested carefully, deliberately, and consciously. Take a moment now and consider carefully. Who could you become if you finally allowed yourself to honor your own boundaries? What would your life look like if you treated your solitude not as isolation, but as a profound opportunity for introspection, healing, and personal growth? Your solitude, chosen consciously and intentionally, isn't isolation. It's a transformative act of self-awareness. It's your inner self gently reminding you to turn inward and finally listen to the voice you've long suppressed in pursuit of external acceptance. Are you ready to listen? The detachment you've chosen isn't isolation. It's something far deeper. It's a profound inner calling to return home to yourself, to finally discover and nurture the authentic person you were always meant to become. You see, solitude, despite its quiet intensity, is not an emptiness you must fill. It's a necessary space that allows you to reconnect with the core of your being. It's your soul gently whispering that the path you've been walking, the conversations you've been holding, and the connections you've been forcing are no longer serving your highest good. Imagine for a moment standing before a heavy wooden door, a door you've seen countless times but never truly understood. You've always assumed it was locked, impenetrable, a barrier separating you from genuine connection and belonging. But what if, upon closer inspection, you discover the door was never locked? What if the handle was always there, waiting patiently for your recognition, quietly reminding you that the key has always rested within your own palm? We spend so much of our lives trying to mold ourselves into forms we believe others expect us to take, believing this constant reshaping is the path to acceptance, belonging, and love. But the moment you allow yourself to pause, to truly reflect, you realize that your most genuine form cannot emerge from adapting to external demands. Instead, your authentic self blossoms only within the gentle quietude of intentional solitude. The loneliness you feared isn't abandonment, it's an invitation. It's life offering you the chance to finally stop chasing external validation and start validating yourself. Ask yourself clearly now, who would you become if you ceased forcing yourself to abandon your quiet wisdom, your thoughtful introspection, your intuitive sense of self, simply to meet external expectations? If you no longer compromised your inner truth to be accepted in circles that never truly resonated with you, who would you discover within yourself? Your intelligence isn't meant to isolate you. It's designed to free you. It's a finely tuned compass, guiding you back toward authenticity, clarity, and purpose. Each moment of detachment you've experienced is not an ending. It's a subtle beginning. It's the quiet signal from within your mind and soul urging you toward deeper self-awareness. Your solitude is your sanctuary, your safe haven, your true home. Recall those moments spent in forced conversations or interactions that left you emotionally depleted. Think of the countless evenings you returned home, not energized by connection, but exhausted by the constant act of performing. Each time, something within you whispered quietly, "This isn't me. This isn't the path I belong to." It's precisely within these quiet, isolated moments you've perhaps mistaken for loneliness, that your true self patiently awaits your discovery. Your intelligence grants you the profound ability to see beyond surface interactions and recognize the subtle, deeper meanings behind every exchange. But that gift demands space to breathe. It requires solitude to flourish. It thrives when protected from superficial engagements that drain rather than enrich your spirit. If you allow yourself to truly embrace solitude, not as isolation, but as a deliberate act of self-care, what possibilities might you unlock within your heart and mind? Imagine the richness of life when you no longer exhaust yourself fitting into circles that don't value the depth and complexity of your inner world. Picture how liberating it would feel to step forward not in obligation, but in authentic alignment with your innermost truths. Your solitude isn't the end of connection. It's the starting point for deeper, more meaningful interactions. When you finally accept that not every space is meant for you, you create room for spaces that genuinely are. When you stop forcing connections, you naturally attract relationships aligned with your true values, intellect, and emotional depth. Authentic bonds form effortlessly because they are built upon mutual understanding and shared resonance, rather than forced conformity and emotional sacrifice. You hold the key to genuine connection. You always have. The door has always been unlocked. All you have to do now is make a conscious decision to step forward, opening that door not toward compromise, but toward self-respect, authenticity, and personal fulfillment. So, ask yourself honestly and courageously, who will you become when you stop sacrificing your quiet intelligence, your profound emotional depth, and your inner peace just to blend in with environments no longer meant for you? Who will you be when your solitude is no longer a source of shame or loneliness, but rather the sacred foundation from which your true self emerges? This awakening is powerful yet gentle, clear yet comforting. You don't need to apologize for needing space to think, to feel, to be. You don't have to deny your inner clarity to fit neatly into societal molds. Your solitude is not an exile. It's your return ticket home, an invitation to truly belong, first and foremost, to yourself. The most profound realization you will ever have is this: true connection isn't found by relentlessly adapting yourself to external standards, but by courageously standing in your own truth. Your detachment, your chosen solitude, isn't a rejection of the world. It's the path toward rediscovering and reconnecting with the deepest part of who you are. This moment, this quiet awakening is yours. Take it. Embrace it. Because from this stillness, from this recognition, everything else finally begins to make sense. True freedom is not found in conforming or relentlessly chasing acceptance from others. It emerges when you finally have the courage to choose inner peace over external validation. For so long, you might have believed freedom meant seamlessly fitting into social circles, feeling understood and appreciated by everyone around you. But the deeper truth is, genuine freedom appears precisely at the moment when you stop compromising your true self simply to gain acceptance. Think about the times you've stood in crowded rooms, surrounded by laughter and conversation, yet felt utterly disconnected. Recall the quiet moments after those gatherings, when you've returned home exhausted, wondering why fitting in feels so incredibly draining. It's because real belonging never demands you betray your own authenticity. Authentic belonging is effortless. It doesn't require you to continuously reshape your thoughts, emotions, or behaviors just to blend in. What if the peace and understanding you've spent years seeking externally have been quietly waiting for you inside, patiently calling out in your moments of solitude? Have you ever paused long enough to realize that perhaps the solitude you've mistakenly viewed as loneliness was, in reality, your soul's gentle invitation toward inner peace? Imagine your inner world as a tranquil sanctuary, a peaceful garden untouched by the chaos and noise outside. Every time you try desperately to fit into external molds, it's like inviting strangers into this sacred space who don't appreciate or understand its true value. They trample your carefully cultivated clarity, peace, and wisdom, leaving you depleted and lost. But every moment you consciously choose solitude, you gently close the gate to that garden, not out of isolation, but from deep respect for your inner sanctuary. Ask yourself honestly now, what would your life feel like if you finally stopped allowing others to disrupt your inner peace? Who might you become if you honored your solitude as sacred instead of something to overcome or escape? Perhaps you've always known deep down that the connections and conversations you've longed for cannot be forced. True connections emerge naturally when you're courageous enough to be authentically yourself, unfiltered and uncompromising. Your quiet intelligence, your emotional depth, and your profound insights deserve to be honored, not diluted to please others. Choosing solitude isn't rejection, it's self-preservation. It's the deliberate act of recognizing and respecting the precious resource that is your emotional and intellectual energy. It's acknowledging that the silence you crave isn't empty, but filled with profound wisdom, clarity, and self-awareness. The moment you embrace solitude as strength rather than weakness, everything changes. Relationships become genuine, interactions become meaningful, and your inner peace flourishes. Today, right now, you stand at a crossroads, an invitation to finally and unapologetically choose yourself. Can you see that the peace you've sought externally has always existed within, quietly waiting for you to recognize and claim it? If this resonates with you deeply, if your heart whispers even the faintest yes, then take this simple yet powerful step forward. Write down clearly and intentionally, "Today I choose my own peace." By writing this, you're doing more than putting words on paper. You're declaring to yourself clearly and powerfully that your inner peace matters more than external acceptance. This small act of affirmation is your first true step toward genuine freedom. It's a quiet revolution, an act of courage and self-respect. By choosing your own peace today, you're choosing authenticity, clarity, and genuine connection, first with yourself and then with others who can truly see and appreciate the real you. Because in the end, the peace and acceptance you've been longing for never depended on the validation of the outside world. It was always waiting within. All you had to do was courageously choose yourself.